impact you and your school and your kids? And I tell them, I said, you're my think tank, so just share with me. Sometimes they let me stay in the room with them. Sometimes they ask me to leave. Sometimes I know when to get up and lead. When we did the cultural proficiency with Dr. Brenda and Franklin, and many of you who were in the Equity Consortium, and Lori wrote a letter for me to give to my board to convince them to bring them in, there was a part where I could not be in the room. So I just went upstairs and did some work. So I brought the food in, went upstairs and did some work, took the food out, went upstairs and did some work, and waited for them to finish, and then I cleaned up. Only because I wanted to give them that time to be together. So I keep the lines of communication open as well by respecting their space and respecting them and just seeking them out. And then the last piece was providing opportunities for rest and relaxation. And when I read that, I was like, yeah, like we want to do that too. But it's talking about too, if you notice that, and that's something Dr. Francis Barnes always talks about in the other countries of what's happening in the other countries, learning about that, and a lot of what we've been doing in this academy, which is really making me understand how important it is for us to ask for opportunities of learning in other countries so we can see. But I want to talk about Jay for a minute because he doesn't know I'm going to do this, but when he invited me over to when he was in Pennsboro, and they did this wonderful day of relaxation for the entire staff. And he had this dynamic speaker who was hilarious, but like just right on to you about your teaching and how you talk and building relationships. But then he had all of the teachers go to these very different kind of breakout sessions, and they were all about themselves, from, you know, walking together, talking together. Would you just tell them just quickly about how you achieved that?
Actually, it was one of our other administrators in the central office who came up with it. They did yoga, walking, cooking, just book studies, conversations. It was just it was a day of stress-free activities where we felt that the wellness component of it would contribute to their classroom environment, and we found it to be very successful.
And so that's one of the things I'm going to steal from you and say I made it up. But it was really wonderful, and everyone was revitalized, and you had it in the middle of the year. Yeah. So there are other ways, other than giving people days off, there are other ways that we can give them relaxation and do it with them. So skilled teachers lead to better student outcomes, and you heard that conversation. And that's what my Action Learning Project really is all about, and how we can have from peer-to-peer kind of influence on them. And teachers find that technology, this was part of the Spark advertisement, so you don't have to read that, but anyway, we know that we want to have technology in it. And then there are just some references there about this particular piece and about inquiry-based solutions. So I had to put that in there because I stole it from them, so in my email, so I wanted you to know that. So one of the other things, and one of the groups that you haven't heard from yet, are the principals. So Sean Oliveira, who's right there, my tech manager, put together, I asked a few principals to just tell us what they thought about Teacher Leadership Academy and the impact of it, and this is what he captured on camera.
Hello, my name is Eugene Spells. I am the principal at Scott Elementary School in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Teacher Leadership Academy has had a positive impact on the teachers in my building that are participants. One of the things that it's allowed them to do is have a more global perspective on how the education process goes, how school leadership trickles down from central administration down to building leadership, and ultimately how teachers become leaders in the building to help share the responsibility for growing students and moving the academic progress of students and the instructional ability of teachers forward. Some of my teachers that have been part of the Teacher Leadership Academy have actually been a lot more enthusiastic. They've taken more leadership roles in the building coming to me with ideas, and they've become risk takers. And they've shared that information with their peers and colleagues as well. So it's been almost infectious on how teachers are viewing teaching, pedagogy, instruction, and student achievement.
Hi, I'm Dr. Saida Achampong, and I'm the principal of Harrisburg High School SciTech campus. Our teachers are motivated, empowered, energized, all because of Teacher Leadership Academy. They come back from the sessions ready to do whatever they can to make change and become great leaders. They have academically sound conversations, rich discussions, and ready to motivate our students. Teacher Leadership Academy has been such a positive asset to our building and to our teacher leaders, most importantly, which trickles down to our students. We are motivating each other, we are excited, they are engaged, and it is empowering. And we thank Dr. Knight for bringing this awesome experience here to our school district for our teacher leaders.
I'm Will Towson, principal of Ben Franklin Elementary. Urban Leadership Initiative has brought a breadth of knowledge to our building. Teachers have taken on leadership roles. Some of my teachers, I had 4 teachers in the building. One, it was already a team leader and it's already enhanced her skills. Another teacher was a math interventionist. She also has been able to hone in on leadership skills, and she's actually 4 credits away from being a certified principal. That's how fast that she's moved through the program. Secondly, I have a teacher that was able to step in a role last year as acting dean of students. Another one of my physical education teachers took one of the building initiatives and used 1,000 fry words right in his classroom during gym class. Before they leave, while they're waiting for their teacher to come pick them up, they were able to review the words while standing in line, so no education time was lost. So I'm very pleased with the program and I hope it continues.
Hello, I'm Patrick Newton. I'm the principal of Roland Middle Academy in the Harrisburg School District. The Teacher Leadership Academy, or TLA, has had a dramatic impact on my school. I have several teachers that are participants in the program. Those people have been head teacher for mathematics for the school, 5th grade team leaders. One of the teachers became an instructional coach due in part to her participation in the program, the materials she learned. All of the teachers that participate in the program bring what they have learned back not only into their own classrooms, but share with their colleagues to try and improve the overall instruction that goes on in the building. I've seen so much good come from the Teacher Leadership Academy. Teachers come back, they see presenters they would not normally have a chance to see just in the day-to-day professional development that we offer. It really goes above and beyond what we can offer at the building level. As we're moving forward into the 2017-18 school year, I have a new crop of teachers that are being added to the program. The teachers that were in it before are still participants, but we've been able to add several new teachers. The nice part about this is we have some younger teachers who are in their 3rd, 4th year teaching, but have a lot of potential. I'm really excited to see what Teacher Leadership Academy will be able to do for their pedagogy, for their instruction, and to see the energy that they'll bring back to the building and to their teams, and ultimately to the students through TLA.
Another piece, and if you saw, I think Lori whispered to me, she's an outstanding leader, isn't she, or Ryan, and that was Michelle Felton. And Michelle Felton is actually one of the reasons why I thought about working with Shippensburg to create the Aspiring Urban Leaders Program, and through that, Shippensburg has done Lead the Way, in which we partner with them. And I think it was $1 million that came from the Department of Education. And she is being, right now, with a cohort of 7 other teacher leaders from the Leadership Academy who are in a program to get their principal cert. So those kinds of things are happening because of the Teacher Leadership Academy. So my first question to you that I would like for you to share out is, describe the state of our current teacher retention and turnover rate here in the district, so everyone could just get a sense of how it really is.
I'll try to answer this question with 5 months worth of experience. I looked at some data as far as the retention, and the district about 4 years ago was hiring about 230 teachers a year. We're down to
How many?
230. So it's about a 30% turnover rate. We're down to about 189 this year. So as you can see, with a teacher population of about 600, that's quite significant. One of the challenges and one of the things I heard Dr. Knight mention earlier was the young teachers that come in, 5 years, they're generally out of the industry. With us, if they come in 1 day, 2 weeks, they turn over within two years, they're generally going to another district to have another experience. And then if it's not a fit for them, then they're leaving the industry. So one of the things when we hired about 150 teachers during our summer program, a lot of them were first-time teachers. When you look at your first-time teachers, they need a lot of support. And I think that's where Dr. Knight's program with Leadership Academy, it allows them to partner and mentor some of those younger teachers with only 1 or 2 years worth of experience in the district.
Which is important. And when Michelle talked about the CIR, when they go into the schools, it was a lot of the younger teachers that came out in the hall and asked, so what are you all doing? And then said, would you come in my classroom? So that was the first couple of times we implemented that. And the person who came in from ICLE was Maggie Pagain, who lives in Puerto Rico, who we're hoping is okay. We haven't heard from her yet. We had to bring Maggie back because Maggie has been so good with being able to give them all these different kind of strategies to use, and the new teachers have really loved that. But the most important fact is that, as Curtis has said, that we have these other experienced teachers who are feeling really great about what they're doing, and they're willing to share now. So what approach has the district taken to recruit and maintain quality teachers?
Great question. One of the things that is a challenge for urban districts is finding educators that are equipped to teach in an urban setting. One of our initiatives that we did this summer in our recruitment event was look at your HBCUs all the way up and down the East Coast. We implemented a product called Vid Recruiter, which allows us to do virtual interviewing as well, so we can capture them remotely without having them to come sit before us and ask them the same questions we could ask them on paper or electronically for them to respond to. We reached out from New York to Puerto Rico. We were able to secure applicants from Philadelphia, North Carolina, Virginia, which brought some experience, because the other aspect is the compensation. The compensation in Puerto Rico and other places is a little less than it is in Pennsylvania, so it is a draw for people to relocate. New Jersey, New York. So that gives us that experience base and the skill set for working in urban settings that may be missing from some of our local colleges applicants.
So one of the things that I'm thinking with Teacher Leadership Academy is that it builds a way for us to use it as a mechanism to retain teachers, because we want to do that. So by providing them these opportunities, they can see, whoa, you know, there's a chance for me to grow and develop. And in turn, the school district is nurturing a cohort of leaders that we have here, and we don't always have to look outside to bring in, but we're actually developing what we have here.
I don't know if you all knew that we just recently went through an issue with how we brought on teachers. The step scale system in school systems is very challenging. It's saying, let me compensate you because of your progression or longevity, whereas this skill set makes you more valuable. And if school districts ever break out of the model of pay for tenure opposed to pay for value and experience, I think that this skill set would be highly sought after and allow you to reward teachers that are delivering results.
For the next one, students are actively engaging in developing rigorous questions, and then they're able to respond to their peers' rigorous questions simply with the teacher acting as a facilitator, not providing answers or providing minimal support. And then lastly, when we're going into the classroom, we're looking for students driving discussion, consistently adding value to dialogue with their peers and with the teacher, and then also that respectful environment where they're respecting opinions, thoughts, etc. of others, and shifting conversation from a Q&A session more into application of concepts within the classroom and within society as well. So are our students making connections to the things that they're learning, to the real world and what is going on outside the classroom walls? And then at this point, I'm going to turn this over to Mrs. Forster.
Hello, Colleen Forster. I'm an instructional coach here in Harrisburg, and I was fortunate enough to go through TLA with a lot of the people sitting here. And when we first started with the CIR, we did have a coach from, we keep throwing out ICLE and the CIR, but she was with us, and we went through this whole collaborative review process, and it's intense, and it required a lot of time. But we were the ones that were part of it, and so the question came up, how are we going to get this to all of the classrooms? How are we going to get this collaboration systemic in all of our schools? So we kind of had to break it down a little bit, and with the leadership teams in the individual buildings, we sat down and we came up with a process, and we decided that we needed to present this at a faculty meeting and get everybody on board with what that process was going to be. And we came up with a calendar that every month, one day of that month was going to be this, what we ended up calling learning walks. And all teachers were invited on these learning walks, and we would identify the classrooms that we were going to go into, and we had a tool that we were going to use for that, 5 to 10 minutes in each of the classrooms, and the debrief would be part of that. And a follow-up would be given to the visited teachers. The biggest thing, the biggest buy-in was that teachers realized that it was non-evaluative. We didn't even allow the principal to come. So it was just teacher-led. We made sure that we gave them some protocols, so at the beginning of every visit, we would go through those protocols about the type of teacher language in the debrief, that we weren't using judgmental language. We weren't going to say that was good, that was bad. We weren't going to say, yes, we saw student engagement. What did that mean? We were going to take that apart and be able to look at and reflect on our own practice. It was not about the teacher being observed at all. It was about looking at what we saw and thinking about and internalizing that for our own practice. We would often adjust the tool that we were using depending upon what maybe the district initiative was, the PDs that teachers were involved with, and then sometimes it was just with the individual building what was important that year, that month, and we would use that tool. So there's an example of something that we would set as a focus for the visit that before we would go out. So we would say, okay, what are we going to look for today? And we would set that focus. And then we would decide what rooms we wanted to go to. And the teachers knew ahead of time because we would send out the calendar. They knew that was the learning walk day, and they knew they could opt out if they wanted to. And it was simply an email. And I'm telling you, no one did, other than to perhaps give me a heads up to say, I'm giving a test that day. So, you may be wasting a 5 to 10 minute visit if you come in because they're going to be testing. But for the most part, people wanted to be seen because they knew that we were going to protect in the debrief what was going on in the classroom. We were very careful about that, and we called each other on it. Like if we were hearing sort of evaluative, judgmental kind of language, it was, you know, we need to back that up and couch that and restate that. And when they knew what was happening in the debrief, when they were part of it, they felt safe to open up their classrooms for everybody else. I'm going off the script. Okay. So it really became very collaborative. People did open up their rooms. The benefit was to the visited and the visitor, especially when you're considering the number of new staff that we have in many of our buildings. So they may not have known the teacher terminology that we would throw around. And in those debriefs, somebody would say, "That was a great jigsaw." And the new teachers would be like, "A what?" "It's a jigsaw." And that was an example of something that would occur just very naturally in the debriefs. And we would also see from new teachers technology that they were using that perhaps some of the veterans weren't. And they were going, "Oh, you know, I'd really like to know more about that. What was that?" You know, it was Schoology, it was quizzes, it was Padlet. And then they would set up meetings to go in and see that teacher and get little tutorials. So both the visited and visitor got a lot out of doing this. The discussion of the strategies that they saw that they may not have known what the actual names for those things were, especially the newer teachers.
So we just want to say in closing that for all of us, we really appreciate our once a year mandatory observation, but we learn the most from the feedback that we got from our peers, the people that had the same students that we had, that were teaching the same courses that we were teaching, and we are really committed to making this grow. One final thought to leave you with is this. We discovered this pretty quickly. This collaborative instructional review and the learning walk procedure looks different in different buildings, but the one thing that is the common thread throughout is this idea of trust. There has to be a level of trust among the participants, and our administrators have to support us from afar. So we have the support in terms of coverage, in terms of, having the autonomy to grow the process, but in order for it to truly be a trusted process and a non-evaluative process, that is really, really the key to making all of this work. And like I said at the beginning, we will go deeper into this when we actually visit a classroom in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Rebecca Hardy. I'm a biology teacher in the district at SciTech High School. Here, what we're doing is taking the superintendents into Ms. Baylor's room and modeling for them the collaborative instructional review process, which we redubbed the learning walk system within our buildings. So they're getting an opportunity to see us visiting classrooms, writing down evidence that's student-centered, and then coming out to debrief about what we saw and how we're going to take it back to our classrooms and utilize it to improve our own instruction to boost student achievement.
This is our example of what we do with the learning walks. You have in your folder, it looks like this. It says Learning Walk Classroom Visitation Tool. If you could get that out.
Probably the next to last page on the right. Yep, that one right there.
So as an instructional coach, we have set days that teachers were aware this is Learning Walk Day, and it was completely voluntary that they would give up their planning period to join us during their planning period in a central location. Usually it was my room. And I'd have the clipboards ready and whatever tool we were going to use to go into the rooms. We'd say, what's our focus going to be? So for our purposes, let's just say we're really kind of struggling with student engagement and what is it and what are some really good examples of student engagement going on in our building. And so we would decide what rooms do we want to go to. Now, oftentimes they would decide themselves. They would say, I hear Mr. Verano is doing some things that the kids are talking about all the time. I'd like to see that. And the teachers have their classes open to us unless I get an email and no questions are asked, like they know. If you say, I don't want to open my room up, I'm not going to ask you why. But that rarely happened. And so we'd say, okay, we're going to go to this room. Now, for our purposes, we're heading into, this is a high school math. I don't know if it's blended grades or whatever, but I know I talked to a couple kids that are 10th graders. So this is a 10th grade math class. There's a special ed learning support teacher in there and the regular ed core teacher. And we'd say, okay, we're going to mark down on here that we're looking for student engagement. And we're going to, in those two columns, because we want to keep this just focused on the data and keeping out judgment. What are the kids saying? What are the kids doing? What is the teacher saying? What are the teachers doing? And we're going to write down some notes about that. And we have a timekeeper, and our timekeeper would say, I'm going to give you the signal. So when about 5 minutes or however long we have to do our visit in there is up, we're going to come back out in the hallway. All right? Okay. And then we can have questions when they come back out.
Okay, think everybody has it?
You 25, mark your 25 off.
I don't want to. I want to get one so I can get
Wait, is this no, that's what you did.
Alright? So you gotta fill the whole thing.
Yeah, you can get. And your constant's on the other.
So basically you
No, how you wouldn't add 5 to both sides.
oh, you got a minus.
The first one that I've seen with the right answer.
I guess supposed to be that negative.
Because it's two negatives.
Alright.
Is it negative on Perfect? Perfect? Okay, no. Good job. Who's putting this one up? Go ahead. Good job.
Oh, Jalen's close. You only need one more.
Same.
Wait, you
I need 3 more.
Ready to go.
Typo. Yo, I'm gonna film. Whoa.
I'll restart you, Tyler.
Get ready your concept first.
Track to the 5 because it's added.
Right, because whatever, that's what I would make that line. So whatever you do on the sideline, you do on the
Fraction,
sideline.
isn't that really division?
Now don't we flip this 3 times 1 and 3 times 4?
This big board in you, right?
What you have to do is division.
So you did minus 5.
Okay, so when we first walked in, we had a student who was up at the board solving the problem. When she finished, all of the students clapped. So that's obviously, there's some routine going on there that they know that this is the expectation when a child finishes sharing with us. Mrs. Seeley went up, she changed the problem, she told them 2 minutes, and I noticed that all of them, their whiteboards were cleared and ready to go without being prompted to do that. So they also knew at some point when they were supposed to erase their whiteboards and get ready to go for the next problem. As I was listening to students, I heard one say to his teammate, he's like, I think I did this right, what do you think? And she looked at him and she said, well, you have the same answer I do, so I think we're okay. And then sure enough, when they put the correct answers up, they did have the right one. Going on the learning walk, I would then be discussing with, okay, so as we went through our evidence, we didn't see her teacher routines, but we saw them, you know, what might she have done, or maybe we can come back and ask her later, how did she get those established so that all the kids knew exactly what to do and when?
So a lot of the purpose of this and what it became is teachers internalizing what was going on, and it was all about, it wasn't about the person being observed. It's never about the person being observed. Visited.
Sorry.
And that's what we would do. And seriously, that's what we do, catch each other like saying things like that. But it's not about that person at all. It's about the people who are visiting and what we can get from that and how that could impact my own instruction.
You said about feedback for the teacher that
the very bottom of the, whatever tool we're using.
Oh, they just get the sheet?
Well, in some cases. Like in
cases.
the one school, they would get like a written feedback thing, like I would put that together.
Just one of the people on the walk would put that together.
Yeah, usually the lead walker will type up the feedback form, but also what happens a lot is if you are the one that's visited, you will just reach out and say, hey, you were in my room today, could we meet after school so that you could give me some feedback? And then from there, what often happens is that those teachers end up visiting one another on their own outside of the scope of the walk. So, hey, I was in your room, I saw you using Class Dojo. Shoot me an email next time you're using it. And that seems to happen a lot, very organically.
As we expose our teachers to these strategies and they start employing them in their classroom, as an instructional coach, I help them. I'll go in and I'll model it for them. I will help them work out how it should look, and then I'm even in the room. But what I'll do at that point in time is I'll take a step back, and I'm just kind of a recorder at that point in time, and then the teacher runs the strategy, and then we have a debrief later. So TLA enables us to reach out to other teachers and really share our craft and help them hone theirs to make it the best that it can be.
So you might take some teachers to her room to
Right.
observe her teaching vocabulary.
Exactly. And that's what we try to do with primarily our learning walks, is we take teachers into various classrooms so they can see teaching in practice and hopefully gain something and take something away.
So then one of the benefits of the program is that those of you who are in the program are getting this expertise through your ability
Yes.
to attend conferences and all of
Yes.
these things.
And then we're disseminating
Right.
to it. So you're taking a small cohort, getting a strong knowledge base, and then giving it to everybody else. That's really the kind of the premise behind the whole TLA.
In terms of the criteria for a teacher to be accepted into the Teacher Leadership Academy, could you talk a little bit more about that, and then how that might translate into the master teacher criteria and salary bump?
Well, right now, it's all about participation in the sessions and then the willingness to share and to go into others' classrooms. So I think Michelle had up there about being the visitor and being visited. That's part of it right there. The part where we get to the master teacher level piece is something that we are developing and getting ready to develop now. In fact, tomorrow, that was why they had rehearsal with you today. Tomorrow is a teacher leadership session. And as Michelle told you, we have several different committees. They are the CIR, that was the Collaborative Instructional Reviews, PR and Advocacy, Master Teacher, and Professional Development. So part of tomorrow's day will be breaking up into those committees because they have signed up for committees, and we're going to talk about the work. The one committee that I will be working with is the master teacher level, and I have some articles that I've already pulled and things that I will share, but it's about, because it's about teachers, I really want them to have more input in that and lead it. So we also want to look at the national certification for teachers and those standards and that criteria and see how do we weave teacher leadership and being involved in that as part of that criteria, but not all of that criteria, and then what other things that we want to put into it. So it's going to be significant enough to say, you know, I'm putting this much work in because I'm getting this out of it.
Hello, Regina Speaker Polubinski from Great Valley School District, and I am the superintendent. I was invited to be a part of the first cohort of the Superintendent Leadership Academy, and today, in visiting Harrisburg School District, it has been an amazing opportunity to see Dr. Knight's ALP, her Action Learning Project, really come to life. And it was amazing to me to see the excellence and the passion of all of the teachers that are involved in the Teacher Leadership Academy, and having an opportunity to see the amazing benefit to students. I have been communicating all day with folks back at my district, talking about the excitement and actually the unbelievable, contagious excellence that exists in the Harrisburg School District, and that the teachers themselves are leading that charge. And to take what's happening in the classrooms and bring it to life for administrators across Pennsylvania, I can't say thank you enough. This is certainly something I will be taking back to Great Valley School District and sharing the passion with our teachers and our staff, our community, and our students. So thank you so much.
My name is Travis Waters. I'm the superintendent of the Stilton High Spire School District. And the Superintendent's Academy has helped me really understand systems change. A lot of times, the Stilton High Spire School District is an urban school, and often in urban schools, we do small program changes to try to make improvements, when what we really need is a systems change. And the Superintendent's Academy has helped me understand and try to bring systems change to the Stilton High Spire School District. Because of this program, there are some great ideas that we are bringing to the school district, and we are hoping to bring a systems change. And being here in the Harrisburg School District today has been a great opportunity, in seeing some of the great things that they are doing under teacher leadership. I saw some fantastic instruction in the classroom, fantastic future leaders, and people, teachers who are teacher leaders currently. This has been a great day, and it's a program that I would possibly bring back to the Stilton High Spire School District.
Hi, I'm Damaris Rao, Superintendent of Schools for the School District of Lancaster. It is really an honor to have been here today and learning about the Teacher Leadership Academy that Dr. Knight has put together here with a fantastic staff. I was really impressed with the level of commitment and empowerment that I heard from the teachers. They took it upon themselves to grow their own learning, and I am just so impressed when professionals, when veterans continue to have a mindset of growth for their professional craft. So congratulations, and keep up the good work.
Hi, my name is Jason Dougal. I'm the CEO of the National Institute for School Leadership. And we have been working in partnership with the Pennsylvania Department of Education on a 2-year superintendent academy, which is really geared towards creating a different system design and a redesign for school districts across the Commonwealth. We've been working with almost 100 superintendents across the state, including Dr. Knight Burney right here in Harrisburg. We've spent a year really learning from the top performing systems all around the world to really understand what makes them different from our own system. And what I've had an opportunity to do here today in Harrisburg is see the beginnings of a whole different design of the district. I got to see teachers working together in a collaborative way that is new. It's new for this district. It's new across the Commonwealth. And I think it will make an enormous difference in student achievement going forward.
Hi, I'm Amy Morton, and my role with the National Institute for School Leadership, or NISL, is the Pennsylvania State Coordinator role. And I'm very privileged in that role to be able to work with all of the superintendents who are involved in the Superintendent's Academy, including Dr. Sybil Knight Burney. So it's a privilege to have been in the Harrisburg School District today, where she's really bringing to life much of what we learned last year during our first year of the Academy. The Academy has 3 major focus areas in terms of subsystems of the larger school district system. One is on aligned instructional systems, one is on high quality teaching, and another on high functioning performance and organizational management. And today we had the experience of looking at how the Harrisburg School District, through Dr. Knight's leadership, is developing really high-quality teachers, and it was an absolute thrill to see the teachers take the leadership role and in their role as professionals in the district really lead their own professional learning in the interest of serving the students in Harrisburg. And in the same manner, it's just always a pleasure to watch the superintendents collaborating with one another as they're learning from their colleagues. So it was a great day to be in Harrisburg today with the superintendents from the central part of the state learning together and working together in the interest of students in the Commonwealth.
Hi, my name is Francis Barnes, and I'm a resident facilitator for the National Institute for School Leadership. I've also been a superintendent in 3 districts in Pennsylvania, and also Secretary of Education in 2004 in Pennsylvania. And working with NISL, they've taken me to Singapore and to Shanghai, where I've witnessed career ladders and teacher academies, where they actually have teachers governing the professional development and the mentoring and the development of other teachers. And that has proved to be quite a fascinating event, and I saw it here today. I saw the teachers excited about what they were doing. I saw the teachers relying on research, taking information that they had acquired from a conference and applying it in their classroom, sharing it with their colleagues. The spirit of collaboration is here in Harrisburg, and it's here because of the Teacher Leadership Academy. So from that perspective, the highest performing jurisdictions in the world are using teacher leadership as a vehicle to improve student performance, and I witnessed it here in Harrisburg today.
Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Greg Thornton, resident faculty for the National Institute of School Leadership. I'm very delighted to be here in Harrisburg today to be part of an international conversation around equity. I'm very pleased with the direction and focus that Harrisburg has taken to ensure that every youngster has a quality education. Equity is so important to our young people so that they can certainly take their place and their dreams can certainly get a little closer. And I'm very delighted, based on the work that's being done by Dr. Knight and the entire staff, they have made this a priority.